Hello and welcome to episode 18 of Playing Pretend with me, Chris McIlvenny. This week I am joined by the hilarious Abi Carter-Simpson. She's a stand-up comedian, musician. She lives in London. She's a legend. Here she is. This is Abi Carter-Simpson. There's a flag.
Okay, Abby,
Absolutely.
thank you very much for coming on the podcast. How are you? And where are you?
You are so welcome. It's so nice to be here. I am in my bedroom. So rock and roll. I've moved house recently.
Okay.
So I'm just, this is why there's lots of bare walls. There's these awful, god awful curtains that look like they're maybe from a kind of maybe uni student halls of residence or
Oh,
something.
yeah.
Quite thick blackout curtains, which are quite good. But I've been in my new house for about a month now.
Okay.
I started off really new paintings, new everything, and then the pub's opened. So I haven't really remembered the last couple of weeks. So we're going to try and get back on track. But I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Very hot, not to rub it in, but I am very hot. It's very warm in here. And
we're
yeah.
just discussing how warm it's been in Britain recently.
Well, it's very hot in Italy, just so you know. It's lovely in the hot.
I'm
some would
so
say too
jealous.
hot.
I'm so jealous. You're talking to me who literally haven't had a freaking holiday in over a year.
I know. Well, see, to be fair, I hadn't had a holiday in over a year until I moved here. And it just so happens, it seems like I'm on holiday, but really I'm working really, really hard.
Yeah, of course. But you just, you look so healthy. You've got a bronze glow,
Do you know, I never tan. Like my brothers, when they were younger, I don't know if they still do them, used to do like sunbeds because they were the type of lads that would have their ears pierced and do sunbeds. And I was like the complete opposite of that. So anytime we would go on holiday, they'd be lying in baby oil and I'd be like under a parasol, like, oh, the sun, yuck.
Get away.
Yeah, like I would come home paler than I went. And they were like, what happened to you? I'm like, I just don't like it. But I've just been doing a lot of walking because the bars are a walk away. So
there you go. And now you're like, look at me now.
Yeah.
Sun-kissed and bronze. And I
crazy.
live in Italy.
Love it.
It's lovely. Yeah.
It's great. So are you living in London?
I'm living in London. Yes, still living in London. I have lived here for nearly 8 years.
Oh, really? Whereabouts are you?
I am in West London in Maida Vale.
Okay. See, I don't really know West London that well.
So, I mean, I say West London, I'm doing myself a disservice. It's quite central. So it's just next to Paddington.
Okay. Nice.
So you walk along a little canal, up Little Venice, and then you get to Maida Vale. It's a beautiful area. I don't deserve to live there, but for some kind of strange events, I've ended up living here for about 6 years.
Yeah, I used to live in Wapping. I don't know if you know it, beside Tower Bridge.
Yeah, Wapping. That's on the DLR, is that right?
It is, yeah. The Overground.
Oh, the Overground. I can't say I've ever been to Wapping.
It's like London's best kept secret because it's
Is
this
it?
village and like all famous people live there. Like Graham Norton lived next door to the bar I worked in, and I would see him like at the start of moving there. I was like, oh my god, there's Graham Norton. And then by the time I was leaving, like 6 months later to go to Italy, I was like, Graham, well,
Yeah.
how are you? And I'm like,
G-Dog.
it's crazy. I'm like, I love the show on Friday, bro. Really good work as always.
Love that. Is he going to be a guest soon? Are you that good friends?
No, I want to be a guest on his, but it's just never gonna happen. So
Never say never.
oh god, someone's ringing.
Oh, you've disappeared.
Phone rang.
You literally just disappeared. That looked like a magic trick.
That was crazy.
That was
And I'm back.
amazing. Yeah.
I'll edit that to make it look good. There's actually a guy here that's covering me.
Is it? Yeah. I'm so
yeah.
disappointed I didn't get the memo about giving myself a nice background.
Oh, well, it's
okay.
The thing is, it doesn't, for me, it doesn't seem like a nice background because it's my room at home in my mum's house.
In Italy.
So,
oh, fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is nice. It looks profesh, It looks looks bright and vibrant.
It is nice. It's nice colours. Yeah, so what made you move to London? Like, were you always, like, you're a comedian and a musician.
Yeah, I'm a jack of all trades.
What made you go into such a dodgy industry like ours? It's crazy.
I always used to do musical theatre stuff. I was kind of like a little stagey kid. So when I was at school, I used to do like modern and tap dance for like a number of years. I know, yeah. I've unfortunately not kept that up, which I'm still determined to get back to the tap class, but it's been a long time.
Yeah, ever since I watched Billy Elliot, like the movie, it made tap dancing look really cool. I was like, oh yeah,
Tap dancing is cool.
It's so cool. I'd love to be able to do it, but I can't.
Get yourself on a Zoom class and we'll all have a little refresher lesson.
Yeah, 100%.
Tap. Yeah, so I used to do that, and then I kind of got into the whole amateur dramatics thing and just absolutely loved it. I just like lived and breathed musical theatre. I thought it was amazing. And then when I got to like sixth form, like 17, 18 at school, I was like, I'm going to go to drama school and be a huge star. And so I got into drama schools. I've just like, it was nuts. I got into Mount View Arts Ed and GSA, got to have my pick.
Wow.
Went to Guilford School of Acting for 3 years, thought, Mama, I've made it, moved to London, and then realised that I couldn't get any jobs.
Yeah. It's mad. Like, I think when you're like in like high school and secondary school, like you're like, well, if I get into drama school, like that's it. That's all I need to do, and I'm an actor 100%. Then, and that's all you need to do. And then you go and you're like, oh no, this is really hard.
100%. But I remember at school, I had a drama teacher, and he said to me, and I can still see him saying these words to me. He was like, girls like you, Abby, blonde hair, blue eyes, you're 10 a penny. You're never going to get anywhere. And I was like, I'm going to prove you wrong. And then I got to drama school and I realised that he was semi-right. But I think when you leave, you've got an idea of how things are going to go. And to be fair to the other people who I went to drama school with, like a load of them absolutely smashed it. Straight left, just went straight into shows, blah, blah, blah. But the comedy side of things for me, I was always the funny part or something like that. So at drama school, in third year, when we'd be doing the big musicals, it would be like, okay, so we need an old 50-year-old bint alcoholic who sings a couple of show tunes, and it'd be like, who are we gonna give that to? Let's put Abby in a wig. So I was playing like 50-year-old, 60-year-old characters. Fair. And then all of a sudden I left drama school, and like I'm 29 now and I have the face of a person a lot younger. So when I did leave at 21, people were like, well, she looks about 15 and she's got the singing voice of a 6-year-old chain smoker. Just didn't quite match up. So I think I was a bit unique. Like, I just didn't know what unique. Yes, we'll use that word.
Many times you'd be told that. It's unique.
You are one of a kind, but that's not going to pay your rent. So I quickly had to adapt. But it's been a long process. I've only been doing stand-up for about 2.5 years. I won't count 2020 because that wasn't a year. So that was a late time. But I look back on my 20s and I say everything kind of came together for me to tell jokes and sing about my life on stage.
It's I've had a few stand-up comedians on this podcast, and it's one thing I'd love to do, but it's one thing I don't think I'd ever be able to do. I just don't have the cojones to.
But I mean, of course you like write some jokes, go on stage, guaranteed you'll be terrible.
It's the writing the jokes that freaks me out.
But it's storytelling, do you know what I mean? You don't have to come out with like a load of one-liners all the time. That comes with practice. But like I look back on, I even look back on a few I've done recently. And I look back on my first ones, and I've got a few videos of me, like my first or second gig. And it was like I was an actor on stage reading off this script 100 miles per hour. I didn't wait for anyone to laugh. I was just like, get to the end. But there was something about it when it goes right and people belly laugh at a joke, then you're like, this is great. I really enjoy this. But yeah, it's like, and don't get me wrong, like it's the most nerve-wracking thing I've ever attempted. Like acting, whatever, I always used to find like doing a show I'd find nervous, but for different reasons. Like when I do like musicals and stuff, when I say musicals, like I do off-Western musicals, I'd always be worried about like my voice or something like that not going properly. I'd be like, oh, what happens if I crack? But with comedy, it's a different type of scary because there is no way of knowing what is going to happen, what people are going to say, and that kind of thing. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just
Where was
nice.
where was the first time you tried it?
So I started to teach myself ukulele because what the world needs
Was
is
that
more.
before the pandemic? That's a very pandemic thing to do, you know?
Yeah, no, this was in about 2017. So I started to learn the ukulele because I thought, what more does the world need than more white women singing about their feelings to a tiny guitar?
Yeah.
So I thought I'd just join the bandwagon. And honestly, like I got myself like a tenor ukulele, which is bigger, because I was fed up of turning up to gigs and like people would be like, oh, here's another one. And I'd be like, fantastic. So I started learning ukulele first, and then I started writing like parody songs and stuff, and just writing funny songs. And then some girl I knew was doing a like a funny women night.
Okay.
And she was like, do you want to do some of your songs? And I was like, oh, okay. So I did like 20 minutes of like 4 songs and not much in between. I did the whole thing sitting down.
Okay.
I had this tiny ukulele with no even straps. I couldn't even play it properly. And that was the first time I'd done anything remotely kind of like that. And then after that, I was like, right, I can do this. So then I did one gig that was like, because in stand-up, when you kind of start out, you do 5 minutes. That's your thing. You've got to nail your 5 minutes, and then you might get seen for more time. And then after that, I got an email through. I'd obviously like signed up to some like comedy course or something. And it was like, oh, new comedian of the year competition. Do you want to apply? So I was like, okay, I'll send my 5 minutes that I literally have. That's it. I'll send it. And then it was like, congratulations, you're through to the quarterfinals. Now, I didn't know at the time that this was a very, very high esteemed, well-known comedy competition that people who went there were really, really good. And so I was like, oh, I'm going to be doing stand-up. It was literally my 3rd gig. My whole family came. Like when I say, there was probably about 70 people in the audience, probably 69 of them were my family, because everyone's like, Abi's doing stand-up.
That helps massively, though.
Well, when it's audience spoke, my friend, it does.
Oh
help.
my God, was it? That's amazing.
Yeah. So there's all these amazing comedians who've been honing their craft, and I rock up, 3rd gig in, brought me Entourage, which has depleted since then. That's 3 years ago now. And now I'm like, do you want to come to a gig? And I was like, we've heard it, Abby. You're okay. I got through to the semifinals, and obviously I didn't do very well the second time because the nerves got me, and they probably knew she's done 3 gigs, she needs a bit more time. But so that was my first big thing. But I got to meet the amazing Mark Dolan, who kind of gave me a few words of advice. Been on his radio show on Talk Radio. He's from Balls of Steel. And he was great. So that was like I jumped in and went, okay, this is great, but I need to kind of maybe take a few steps back.
Learn to swim before you sink.
Yeah, absolutely. So
it's I think that's a really good way of just kind of doing it, because I feel like you doing that competition, it's almost like you're starting close to the top, and then you realize how hard other people have worked, and you're like, okay, well, that's what goes into it. Sweet. That being your 3rd gig, you're like, okay, well, this is a good sign that this is the 3rd gig and I'm here, so I can work
thanks,
from here.
Mum and Dad.
The loudest cheers in the room. Like, yeah, thanks. You can come next week too. That's funny. Do you know, I actually have a bone to pick with you, because there's a tune stuck in my head, and it has been all week, and it's dun, 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 all mouth, dun, 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 no trousers.
No trousers.
Oh, it's like I'd be teaching the kids, and I'd be like, dun, 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 oh, I'm like, what? That's mental. That's stuck
do
in
you
my
do
head.
This at the same time?
Are you meant to? I didn't.
Yeah, that's what we were thinking when we were recording it together. We were like, oh, mouth. Bit like kind of, I don't know, we just felt like we kind of
Camp Rock.
like rebellious school kids are like, oh, mouth.
How did that come about? I really like it. I like that it's like in like sections, like bits. It's nice that you like talk about a specific thing, and then you roll from that, and then it's really cool. What made just Do it.
So when lockdown happened or whatever, that big thing that happened,
Yeah.
that huge thing, I was, like many people, searching for something to do, and I've just not been very kind of creative or anything like that over lockdown. I wrote a couple of songs, but then people were like, oh, I've just sent off like a film, like I've just written a film, or I've just started up this, and I was like, I can literally barely get out of bed each day. So an opportunity came up on Facebook. A girl that I did a show with a few years ago, she created an online radio station called Quarantine FM. Two Irish girls. It was an Irish radio station, and they were looking for a host for the Saturday morning slot, which was like an hour and a half, called the Good News Day Show. So I was like, I've never had any radio experience before. Can I please be the host?
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, sure. So it was all pre-recorded. So I do it every week. It was like an hour and a half, pick all the songs, do good news stories, have guests, that kind of thing. I think Ray Walsh was on as a guest, our mutual pal. And so I was doing that. And then when it became a year anniversary of COVID, the radio station closed down because obviously everything's opening, and sitting at home doing like a radio show each week is a little bit kind of like, the girl who was running it, Anna Rose, she was like, I'm going to have to cue this radio station from Friday to Sunday from my bedroom. Like, I want a life. So all of a sudden I loved it. It was like something that I had to, like, I mean, you'll know, having this, like, it's something that I have to kind of like, I've got deadlines and like I need to do it every week. And then that's kind of like, if nothing else is going on in my head, I'm like, okay, I still need to do this.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think there's a real art to being able to talk kind of freely on radio, on podcasts, that kind of thing. It takes a lot of time. And I didn't want to lose what I'd learned for a year when this stopped. So I had this free time. So I was like, I really want to do a podcast. And like, you're great doing one that you've got guests, but I was just like, the effort of getting guests.
The thing is with the guests, because I know quite a lot of people, so I'm like asking them. And the good thing is about a guest is I'm just like, here's a question, give me a 10-minute answer. Go ahead.
Is that Abby, stop talking?
No, that's Abby, keep talking, don't stop. Because then I'll have to talk. And
Yeah, I'm gonna stop now.
No, don't. No, because God, COVID. See,
interesting. Go on.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was trying to think of things that I could do, and I kind of enjoyed the whole, just kind of, I really enjoyed on my radio show ranting about things and that kind of stuff, and just chatting about stuff that had happened during the week. So I was trying to think of people that I could do it with. And then I randomly thought, Josh, my co-host, I have not really properly spoken to him for like over a year. But we did a show together with Ray Walsh called Finian's Rainbow. This was years ago. Yeah, at the Charing Cross Theatre. It was a hit. So we were together in the ensemble, and we just like had an absolute scream. I mean, I was probably highly unprofessional, but just the laughter. I just remember it just being like such a bloody fabulous time of my life. So I was like, I wonder what he's up to, you know. So I just randomly messaged him and I said, like, listen, I really want to do a podcast. I'm trying to think of people that I would bounce off well with, and you keep coming up in my head. So do you just want to give it a go? And then he was just like, yeah. So it's just been very much like we've actually kind of like shown up for each other, because like normally these things happen and like one person would be like, oh, you know, I'm busy this week, or I can't do it. But we've just had an absolute ball, like, and we've been learning as we go. Like, I didn't even know I learned how to edit and stuff doing the radio show. Like, I had no idea, like, this microphone has just been more trouble than it's worth. Like, trying to make sure that I didn't even know how to upload a podcast. Do you know what I mean?
What do you use? How do you do it?
I use Buzzsprout. What do you use?
I use Anchor.
Oh, do you?
Do you have to pay for Buzzsprout?
Yeah.
Oh God! No. I don't pay for nothing. Nothing. I will not pay for.
I don't know. I had. Oh, that's so annoying. See, this is what I mean. I got mugged off. I'm paying like £15 a month.
No.
It's all on the business moms though. That's fine. I got to show up for something with the tax man.
Yeah, it's tax deductible.
Absolutely. But yeah, so that's it. So we're on episode 7 next week.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just a laugh. It's just fun, and we're learning. Sometimes you're like, oh god, this is going to be a bit shit, and then you actually listen to it. You're like, okay, that's okay.
Yeah, that's happened to me. Like I feel like it's very hard for me because I'm in the conversation, so it's hard to be look at it like objectively because I'm like,
Yeah,
well, how can I? I'm in it. And then I would put up a podcast that maybe felt a bit weird in the conversation, and then we were like, "Here, I love that episode." I'm like,
yeah,
"Did you
yeah.
really?" And they're like, "Yeah, it flowed really well." I'm like, "Didn't feel like it."
You're like, yeah, sure.
But it did, and then I watched it, and I'm like, oh yeah, it does. Maybe just because I think in your own head, when you're in the middle of it, you're like, I don't know
Yeah.
where I am, don't know what we're talking about, but I'm just gonna keep going. But this
And
podcast
also,
is,
it's a podcast are long, like it's a long time. Do you know what I mean? It's a long time to have a chat. Like
yeah,
even if you're with friends or something, you don't just fully chat at each other for like an hour. Do you know what
yeah,
I mean? There's normally like a little break or something. But
yeah,
in podcasts, it's like I remember the first one that Josh and I did. We literally like sat there, had our notes. Everything was like, okay, and now you speak. And then last episode sat there, tea, chocolate. I had a fry up like 2 weeks ago, came in, I was eating my fry up. Like you do get more that's what I mean. Like that's why I kind
yeah.
of wanted to do it, because you do get more comfortable doing it. But like some of the ones I've done, I've been like, yes. And next question, please.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a real art to it, but they're fun and it's the way the world is going.
It is.
So
And do you know what? I got into podcasts like listening to them quite late to the party, to be honest. But it was the Ricky Gervais stuff, the
yeah,
XFM thing,
yeah,
and it was
yeah.
just so good. And I was like, I'd love to do this. And I lived with my mates in Manchester at the time when we were in drama school. And then we would have these random conversations that I'm like, geez, if we should record these.
Yeah.
And then I got onto the podcast. I was like, here, I'm gonna record this. We did like maybe 4 like pilots, because then someone would say something really inappropriate. I'm like, well, we can't use that now. So because it's 3 lads drunk
Yeah.
just chatting shit at
Yeah.
3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
microphone, like, yeah. What'd you say?
Yeah. That doesn't need to be recorded, does it? We all know what it
Definitely
probably is.
not.
Put in the world to rights.
Yeah,
Chat and
absolutely.
shite.
But then it became like such a nice thing for us to do, because like we would be working and doing uni work and whatever, and then this was like a designated like 2 hours that we would sit and
Yeah.
chat with each other in my room and just have a laugh, have a few beers and chat away.
Yeah.
I never thought much of it. We did upload them, but it was mainly, we never thought anyone was ever listening, because, well, you don't. You have the
You
conversation,
don't
you
know.
upload it, and then you kind of forget. And then we were in this bar because we had an Instagram page for it. So we put up the photos of like the 3 of us and whatever, just photos that people would take on nights out and stuff, put them up and be like, episode 28 available now.
Yeah. No
And
one
then,
cares.
yeah. No one got 3 likes. You're like, fuck me. But then we were in this bar, right? It was so weird. And this guy came over and was like the 3 of us were sitting together. And I'm like, are you the School Groove Gents? That was the name of the podcast. And we're like, yeah. He was like, here, I listened
Yes,
to the
we are.
podcast. I'm like, you listen to it? Oh shit. I haven't, like, because you should, when you do a podcast with your mates and you're kind of drunk at 2 o'clock in the morning, you really should listen to it just to proof
Yeah.
listen, just to make sure there's nothing mental in it. And I'm like, do you? Is it all right? And he went, here, hilarious. I'm like, is it? I have no idea. I don't know what we say. I don't know what we talk about, but I'm glad you enjoy it, mate. That's good. And we're like, we're celebrities. We're celebrities. And then you
I
look at
hope you lapped that up. That's
we
amazing.
did. But the thing is, then I was like, I haven't looked at the analytics in a while. Maybe we've just blown up. Looked at like 20 people. And I'm like, oh, no. Just he just happened to be one of 20 that are listening.
Oh.
And the other 19 are my family and friends. So, yeah. But then I started doing another podcast with my friend when we moved to Italy the first time, because I moved here before COVID. And then
As
COVID
you
hit
do.
Italy. COVID hit Italy really bad. So we were like, oh
Yeah.
God. So then we had to be sent home. We had to flee the country, flee Italy. And then we did a podcast. We had to self-isolate for 2 weeks in a caravan. So every night of the quarantine, we
Yeah.
did a podcast. So that kind of just something to keep us going with.
It's
And
just
then I,
fucking mental, isn't it? Like when you look back, it's just actually mental.
it's
You
so
had to
mad.
flee a country, do you
Yeah,
know? Like,
it's mad. Do you know it's mad? Masks. I don't know in the UK if it's still the same, but people just they wear them in shops and stuff, and if they're walking into a bar and then once they sit down and take them off. Italy,
yeah.
you're not allowed to leave the house without a mask on.
But I kind of agree with that. There's some things that I'm like, I just don't understand why we never wore a mask before. Par
Yeah.
example, getting your eyebrows waxed or something, or your face waxed, wherever you want waxed.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I finally was able to get my bushy eyebrows done after lockdown part 7, I went in and I was wearing a mask and she was wearing a mask. And I was like, this makes so much sense. We're literally breathing into each other's mouths. She's so
Yeah.
close to my face. Like, I don't think I'll ever go on a tube again without a mask. It's like a
Yeah,
vacuous hole, you
it
know?
really is. Like, because the thing is, it's not just COVID down there either. Like, there's
It's not just
everything
COVID
down there. It's
down there.
disgusting. It's a horrible place to be, especially
Yeah,
that
no.
central line. God, awful.
See, I'm on the Bakerloo and that's not much better.
No, Bakerloo's not great. Is that the brown
Yes,
one?
yes, the brown line's
Yes, very
pretty grim.
suitably coloured.
Yeah,
Disgusting Bakerloo line.
yeah, the
Oh
pooey
yeah,
line.
yeah, yuck, yuck. Um, I yeah, because people are disgusting. Do you know what I mean? Just people in general are horrible. Have no sense of personal hygiene before this and during it. But like before it, you think about like the tube or a nightclub, and you're just like breathing on people and like kissing strangers in bars and all. And you're like, ugh,
Spitting in random people's mouths and not
yuck. Like,
thinking anything of it.
not at all. You'd be at a party and there's a bottle of champers and you're like, take one of it. You're like, ugh, bottle of champers.
Or a
What
or a
party's that going to?
crudité. Or a
Yeah. So,
crudité,
yeah, you never
double
know.
dipping.
Yeah. Oh God, savage.
You see like the hummus or like the cheese and onion, cheese and chive dip, and it's just got like a
Yeah.
congeal, and there'll always be someone who just go in for another scoop. It's
Someone's
like,
double
mate,
dipping their carrots in the what do you
rancid
call that stuff? I don't eat it. Not couscous.
hummus,
Yeah. I'm not
not
a.
couscous.
It's not. It's not. I don't eat vegetables. You know. I know.
Pasta and pizza.
Pasta and pizza and beer.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
in the right place.
I really am. It's scaring me though because I'm getting a set of boobs here, and
Are you?
I've never had a set of boobs before.
Me neither. Actually, that's what I talk
Come to
about a
Italy,
lot.
you'll get a set in 2 months. Swear to
I talk a
God.
lot about that in my stand-up. So yeah,
Well,
maybe I need to
honestly,
come. Maybe I need to go and eat more
it's
pasta and pizza. And that
it's
could be
came
the.
like that. I have a pair of boobs. Like that's funny. Here,
Well,
there you go.
congratulations.
Thanks. God, I can't believe I got them before you did. That's crazy.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah. But it's kind of stressing me out, and summer's coming, and it's meant to be a hot girl summer, and I'm just not feeling it. I'm just
Come
like,
on.
"Ugh."
Every girl's a hot girl summer. That's what it is.
every
Gotta
summer's
love your
a hot-
body. Every girl's a hot girl. You know what I'm trying to say? Love your body. Love the skin you're in. It's
I'm trying.
2021. Nobody
trying.
cares.
Yeah, I care.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, it's weird because I've always been like had really fast metabolism, and like people
Lucky
used to
you.
hate. Yeah, no, people used to hate me for it.
Yeah, keep
Because like
going.
I would eat like pizza and Chinese. Like when I lived in Manchester, it was a disgrace because my Just Eat was just like day after another, boom, 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 never cooked, just constantly eating takeaways and drinking, and was just more skinny than I was before. And I was like, what's going on here? This is mental, and it's catching up with me.
This
and I
is
don't
what
like
every woman wants to hear. Stories like this.
But it's
I
okay.
remember.
I'm coming back.
No way. I remember in drama school, right? I remember in drama school. Like we've hit it. We've hit a nerve here, right? So this is one of the reasons why musical theatre didn't quite work for me, because I was always up for the fat part, right? And it wasn't like, that's okay, that's all right. But when you're looking in the mirror, you're like, oh, I look all right today. And they're like, you're up for the hefty one. You're a bit like, okay, something's going wrong here. But I can vividly remember in drama school, I was sitting there eating no carbs, some like mushrooms, and there'd be lasses sitting next to me with metabolisms like yours, just chowing down on bread, left, right, and center. And then I just realized at that moment, like some people just walk in the light. Do you know?
Well, I don't know about walking in the light. I think we're just, I don't know. It's a luck
Just
thing.
next time you eat a pizza and nothing happens, take a moment for the people who can't eat bread without literally seeing it pile on.
I know but it is scaring me now because it's coming,
It'll
and
catch up with you.
it does, and it might.
Maybe I'll just stay the same. I'll just stay the same the whole way through my life, and all the skinny hands will just balloon.
Yeah, we'll be going for the hefty parts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's musical theater. Because I did acting in a drama school, but the musical theater ones, it just because it was majority girls. It was 3 boys in the year in musical theater at the Arden.
Wow.
And the girls, it was like not a nice place to be. It just seemed like it was like catty, and just always people were very self-conscious about their dancing, if their tap wasn't on form, or their jazz was a bit not great. And I'm like, geez, and in acting, we were all like just having a laugh, like loving each other. And I'm like, God, musical theater seems like hell. Was it that?
No, I went to Guilford School of Acting, which is where I met Ray, who was in the MA course, and I was the 3-year musical theatre course. And to be fair, like it was amazing, and like credit to that school, they're very, very much like, be yourself, we've picked you. Before I went to drama school, I suffered during my late teens with like a health issue. So I auditioned for drama school as like a beanpole, and then I put on nearly 2 stone in 4 weeks through no fault of my own. So I couldn't do anything about it. The doctors were saying to me, we don't know what it is, just stop eating the pizza, stop eating this. And I was like, I'm not doing that, help me. So I went to drama school a little bit body conscious, I would say. And there were some moments, but I think there were some moments maybe like, you'd be doing oh God, you'd be doing like double work, like partner work, like lifty uppies. Yeah. And I'd be like pick glass. Oh, it's really sad, isn't it? But like you could see everyone like looking around the room for like the smallest girl, and I'd be like, but the annoying thing is, like, I can hold myself, I'm a strong woman, so I can hold myself. It's absolutely fine. But I remember there were a few times that I'd be like, so I think kind of leaving, I think that was one of the main reasons for me why I don't think it went as much in my favor, musical theatre, as it did. And I did turn to comedy and straight acting and that kind of thing, because there's always something. It's changed a little bit now. People are a bit more vocal about it and won't stand for it. But when I was auditioning for things, there were times when like I had an old agent, and every time I saw them, it wouldn't be like, oh, like you're doing really well, and like, let's try and get you in for this, let's try and get you in for that. It was like, oh, have you lost weight? Maybe you should think about losing weight, or maybe you should think about doing this. And then I was up for Mabel in Fame like 4 times, and she's the girl in the musical Fame who can't stop. She wants to be a dancer, but she can't because she can't stop eating. Right? She sings a whole song about being the world's fattest dancer. And so I read the script, and she's actually only in the script, she's only 100 and something pounds. It turns out she's 11 stone, which is what I weigh, which is not, which I would not say is fat. So I think already that is doing a disservice by saying, if you're 11 stone, if you're any weight, that is, you can't be a dancer because of this. So I remember once my last ever musical theatre audition, I went to this dance call for Fame, and I said to my agents, like, is it a dance call or is it like a movement call for actors? Because I said, if it's a dance call, I ain't danced for about a year. So I can make it look all right. But if it's going to be like a full-on Fame dance call, I'm just going to stick out like a sore thumb, and there's no point. No, it's fine. It's just like a little movement. They just want to see what you can do. I rock up. I'm literally in like my gym clothes, like kind of leggings and a top. And everyone else is like, gung, 6-pack.
Dressed like they're in Fame already.
Matching tops and bottoms, frizzy hair, big makeup, like bam, I'm ready to dance, which is fucking amazing because that's what you do, and that's amazing. And I will never be able to do that. But I was like, oh fuck, I'm here, right? Let's give it a go. So they started doing it, and I could not, for the life of me, do this routine. I didn't even know one of the moves, and I was stressing out so much because I did stick out like a sore thumb, looks wise and everything. I was like, this is horrible. So the guy, the choreographer was like, okay, and now we're going to go into groups of 7. And I was like, fuck this. So I went up to the casting director and I was like, I'm so sorry. It's been a terrible mistake. I should be here. And she went, I've realised that.
Oh, no way.
She was like, do you want to go? And I was like, yes, thank you so much. And I left and I ran outside. I burst into tears. I rang my agent at the time. I quickly left them. I rang them up and I said, never, ever put me in that situation again where I feel like shit. Because at the beginning, when you start trying to be an actor, you're like, I'm just going to give everything a shot.
Yeah.
And then you get further on and you're like, I know what I can do really well, but I also know, more importantly, what I can't do. So there's no point me going into a room where there's fabulous dancers because I'm just not going to get the job, and I don't want to put myself through that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there is a stigma, but I think there's such amazing shows out there and such amazing people. I think sometimes you can get caught up in the wrong things. So it's quite tricky. Not like, you have to make sure you take yourself out and say like, I am good enough. I just haven't been, I've not found the right job yet, or that kind of thing. So
those dance calls, I've never done one. I didn't do musical theatre. But they sound frightening. I can't dance, right? So dance class sounded frightening to me. I'm like, we're doing dirty dancing. I'm like, why? Why are we doing dirty dancing? I can't dance. It'll just look horrendous. And like dancing, I don't know, dancing just, I move weird. I move really weird.
I used to be all right, to be fair. I used to be able to solidly do it. When I first had drama school, I used to be able to, but I guess it's just something that I did because I thought I had to. And then actually, I love tap. Tap was like my thing at drama school. I absolutely loved it.
Did you ever do Irish dancing? Like that type of tap?
I've got a confession. My favourite show in the world is Riverdance.
Right.
And I have always wanted to be in Riverdance, even though I've never done proper Irish dancing. When I was younger, we used to do like tap Irish.
Right.
But I remember once my parents went to Dublin for a weekend when I was younger, and I forced them to buy me a pair of soft Irish dancing shoes. And I used to just dance the Lord of the Dance around my house.
Nice.
So that's, in a different life.
I know loads of people, because Irish dancing is such a thing, like in Belfast, like girls and boys do Irish dancing from an early age.
My mum's from Belfast. So
really?
That's my little connection. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Whereabouts is she from? People always get that when it's Belfast. Whereabouts? What side of the track is she?
Oh, are we going to go there?
No, we're not. We're joking.
Well, my grandparents moved over when my mum was about 10.
Right.
And they grew up in Waltham. So my aunt lives near Forest Side.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's fancy. That's nice.
Well, there you go. That's really all I know. I was there in 2019 for my granddad's 80th. Okay. Went to the Titanic Museum.
Fancy that, isn't it? It's nice.
That was one thing you only need to do once, wasn't it?
I've never even done it. I'll never go inside, because why would I? I don't.
Agreed. Yeah.
It's a cool building, but like, I've seen the movie. I'm happy enough.
But it was nothing like the movie. That was what I was so disappointed about.
That's
so where's the door?
Where's the bloody necklace? Because I remember when they first opened it, they had some memorabilia, and then they sold it all to someone.
I mean, they've got like a video of it at some point, but I think what I more wanted was a Titanic the movie museum rather than a Titanic the ship.
Yeah, because Titanic the ship museum is a shit museam.
Yeah,
I should be in comedy. You're right. I'm gonna try it.
Right.
Knock knock. It's a shit museum. Yeah.
Oh my God. Do you want to hear a joke that an 8-year-old told me the other day?
Yes, I
You
do.
ready? Knock, knock.
Who's there?
D.
D who?
D's nuts.
That's where was this?
I'm not telling you. I don't. We won't talk about that part of my life.
Fair. Is he your comedy writer?
He is. Yeah, he writes all my jokes for me. That's actually my joke. That I was just trying out there. So
Yeah.
It's in. I'm gonna keep it in.
Yeah, keep it in. That's funny. These nuts. Kids are mental.
These nuts, aren't they?
Kids are mad. I'm out here teaching. I teach babies in the morning and then like 10, 11-year-olds in the afternoon. And it was my last day of teaching the babies today. So they're like 3, 4, and 5. And I was getting photos with all the classes, but all the photos just look so funny because I'm standing at the back. I look like Billy Madison. Like I'm in their class, just standing at the back like a bloody idiot, sticking
Is it
out
all
like a sore thumb.
online?
What, the teaching?
Hmm.
No, I'm in school.
Oh, you're in class. Oh, you're in class. Oh, for some reason I thought it was online.
Oh no, I get coughed on and climbed on and breathed on.
Lovely.
And the babies don't wear masks because they're babies.
Well, of course, yeah.
But it's so funny because one of the photos, there was this girl in one of my classes that I would go into. As soon as I walk through the door, as soon as she knows that I'm coming, she'll cry her eyes out and say, "Mama," just endlessly for a full hour. And the teachers don't put up with it. Like the teachers don't react when they start crying because they do cry a lot.
Yeah.
Because they're babies.
Like actual babies. Like how old are they?
Like 3-year-olds.
Fuck.
And I'm trying to teach them emotions. I'm like, happy, sad, point at the girl. Sad. She's like,
don't be like her.
Yeah. She's like, don't point at me, he's gonna kill me. I don't know what it was about me that she didn't like. But she hated me from the get-go. And I've been here for 5 weeks. So I've been coming into her class every Friday for 5 weeks. And in the photo, she cries and she doesn't stop crying. So it's not as if like the teacher try and pacify her. She just sits there and goes, and she does all these weird faces. She's like, oh my God, like, give it a rest, would you? Francesca.
This is my moment.
Angry.
Yeah.
But they but then in the photo, it's so good. In the photo of me with the class, all the kids are like smiling and stuff, and she's just at the front like screaming. I'm like, fuck's sake, she hates me, and I don't know why.
Do you not find it weird that like you'll be in the back of all those photos? Like for you, that's literally, excuse like the camera lingo, but that's like a snapshot for you. But for them, like you're going to be in their photos for like in like the memory box.
Yeah,
isn't that weird? So they're like, who's he? Who's that weird man who used to make my daughter cry all the time?
Yeah. Oh God, that's me. It is weird because I before I was here, because I'm near Rome at the minute, but I was up near Venice, and all the kids, I was only teaching there for like a week or two, and they made me like cards. We will never forget you, and all this, and they were drawing all these cards, and it was amazing. And it got me really emotional because it was the first class that I was finished with because it was my first time teaching.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, okay, bye. See you later. See you never.
So long.
Yeah, I'm leaving. I'm never coming back. Exactly. But yeah, kids, I don't think I want any because they're god awful.
Yeah. No, I'm okay.
They're cute, like, but they're annoying. See if they're yours. See, there's kids in my class that are like a nightmare, but I'm like, I'll just get through an hour and it's fine. But I'm like, imagine.
Yeah, you can give them back. You can give them back. I think that's the main thing. But like the thing is with parents there as well, like if your kids are at school, like that's 9 hours without them.
Yeah, exactly.
9 hours. What school am I in? 7 hours.
Yeah.
You know, so it's give or take both ways.
But there's they're assholes. They are assholes. These kids. Yeah. Some of them are just the worst behaved wee rats. And I shouldn't say that. I'm a terrible teacher. But they're a nightmare. And I'm like, oh God, I really didn't. I just like, you're like, and you just like me, so let's just get through this. But I'm like,
Yeah.
I feel bad for your parents because you're going home to them. And do they not like you as much as I don't like it? Because
Well, of course they love them because it's theirs, you know.
yeah,
There's a difference.
yeah, it's just not for me. It stresses me out. No, if because with the babies, there's always at least two teachers in the room with me,
Yeah.
just to make sure that they are like paying
Crowd
attention.
control. Yeah.
But as soon as they leave the room, the teachers, I'm like, oh, I can't. Don't leave me with these.
Yeah, but also like they're 3. That's like babies, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Because they're just running about and kissing each other and beating each other up and stuff.
Yeah.
These kids like rolling around. I was like, what are they doing? And then I see the punch being thrown. I was like, oh shit. This is a fight. I have the one to yell. Yeah, like
But at
doing
least you're
that.
in Rome though. That's lovely.
It's true. Yeah, I was in Rome at the weekend. It was nice. So are you planning any holidays now that the world's kind of opening up?
No planning holidays really, if I'm honest. She's still broke. But I've just been booked for some festivals,
Nice.
which I'm absolutely buzzing about. So I'm doing Truck Festival in Oxfordshire, which I my agent sent me it through and I read it as Oxford Truck Fest. And I was like, I am doing comedy to a load of truckers, like truck enthusiasts. But then I did a little Google like 3 days later because I didn't think anything of it. And then the lineup is pretty sweet. So let me have a look quickly because I've forgotten. But I remember being like, this is great. And I want to go for the whole weekend. We have the Kooks.
Nice.
Yeah. Who else do we have? We have Bombay Bicycle Club, Royal Blood, Circa Waves, and apparently little old me.
That's so
doing
cool.
some comedy. And then I'm doing the week after, I'm doing Why Not Festival in Derby.
Oh yeah.
With elbow play.
That's
mental.
mental.
Isn't it?
That's so cool.
I need to write some new jokes. But yeah, I'm absolutely buzzing. So that's going to be my summer. And I have said like the whole way through COVID or anything, like all I've wanted to do is just be like in a field, glitter on my face, secrets in my hair, holding a flat cider in 2 hands, dancing to a band that I don't know. So I can do that once I've told some jokes.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And you're there. You're actually being paid to be there, and you're like, oh yeah, sweet.
Like,
that's so cool.
I better get a VIP band, seriously.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what I've never understood? You know what, like festivals, when like VIPs and celebrities go to like Glastonbury and stuff, why they stand up at the side of the stage and they don't get like a good view?
Well, I would do that too.
Why?
Because there's toilets nearby.
Yeah, but to be fair, if you're, who's a famous celebrity? If you're Joe Pasquale, right, and you're at class, that's the first guy that came to my head.
All the famous celebrities, Joe Pasquale.
Yeah, it's in my head is man, and Joe Pasquale's voice. Yeah, there's 2 things stuck in my head. But yeah, so say you're someone famous. Like I'd say if you're in the crowd, you'd be like, here, I need to go to the toilet. And they'd like heave you out, depending on your...
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, really. Maybe just feel more important to be behind the scenes.
True. Well, that's amazing. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And what's really cool is that you play music in your set. So it's like you're like Elwood, just like...
I am.
Playing? And on stage, do you only play ukulele or do you change it about?
Yes, because I can only play ukulele. So,
really?
Yeah. I mean, I can play a couple of chords on the guitar, but there's nothing to write home about. And also, it's just too like, I'm just not there yet. I'd be like looking a bit like Phoebe and Friends. I'd be looking to see what I was doing. Ukulele, I can just do it. I just kind of know what I'm doing.
Fair.
I mean, I say I can play ukulele. I can play minimal chords.
You can play ukulele. You're being modest, I think.
No, I can, but like I wouldn't say like I'm an expert. So I know C, G, A, F, and A minor. E minor sometimes chuck in for good measure, but nothing crazy.
They sound like all really good chords. So
yeah, they're good for a song. They're good for a song.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
So is it mainly comedy that you're doing now, or acting, or would you be booked for just like singing?
So I used to. Again, it's just like things just come up. Like I used to be a session singer at the Four Seasons in like the 5-star hotel. I can't remember where it is now, but it was amazing. It was like this big, like open area with a grand piano, like in a circle in the middle.
That's unreal.
And then like everyone would like go around the outside. So I used to do that every week, which was really nice. But then again, like when COVID happened, it all just kind of stopped. But yeah, it just things come up really with me. I will see somebody and they'll be like, "Oh, do you want to do this?" And then I'll end up doing it. COVID's taken away a bit of flexibility. So I think there might have been some opportunities that maybe I could have done in my old life, but now things have changed a little bit. So I have to be a bit more picky about what I do. So comedy is good because it's in the evenings. So I can do that all the time. But yeah, I haven't really sang much. If something came up, maybe, but yeah, it depends.
Because I've seen on your Instagram that you put up like some songs, but you should sing like loads because it's really good. Like you're really, really good. So
thanks.
I really enjoyed the one you put up. It was like on your story or whatever. But
it's something like it's just weird at the moment, isn't it? Because like it's weird at the moment because you can't do it anywhere. You know what I mean? Like you can't, like, it's singing in your house really or nothing. And I'm not really I think sometimes you have to choose a passion, right? So like at the moment when in the evenings I gig and I do comedy and that kind of thing. But I've never really been like a songstress, you know what I mean? Kind of like I like the laughter more than the serious singing side. So I like the fact that I can do that. And I love, like when I used to sing in the hotel, I absolutely loved it, like just singing, crooning away. Because I used to do that in on New Year's Eve as well. Like I'd always have somewhere to sing, like a hotel or somewhere in London. But no, I think my heart lies with the comedy. So I think sometimes you have to like take and run with it and see where that gets you. Yeah, you still got it on the back burner. Like if you know, if money comes up and they're like, "Do you want to do this?" Then you're fine. But you have to, because you've got to be on it as well. Like if you're a session singer or whatever, you've got to have like your set ready and all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
So before COVID, would it be a case of like going to open mics, or is there? I don't really know what the comedy scene is like in England.
So the way it works is you start with open mics, and as I said, like it's normally 5 minutes. You get your type 5, whatever, and then after that, you can kind of like, if you kind of get spots at bigger comedy clubs, and then if they like you, they might offer you a trial spot. You do a trial spot, and then if they like you, then you'll get your first book slot, which you get paid for. And it's like going up the ladders, but you have to really have done your time. Do you know what I mean? Like they ask you how many gigs have you done and that kind of thing. So just before COVID happened, I was in the stage of like getting all of my first kind of like paid gigs booked. So I had like, my diary was just beautiful, full of these amazing comedy opportunities, and then they just disappeared. I did an amazing one at Soho Farmhouse in the summer, where I supported Stephen K. Amos.
Wow.
Which was nuts. So he's with the same agent as I. So basically I got signed really early on. You don't normally get signed quite early, but I was signed by Glorious Management, their comedy and acting agency. And they look after Stephen K. Amos. So they signed me really early on in my comedy career. So they were like, this is quite early, but let's run with it and see what happens. So I was still trying to find my feet, the comedy thing. So then now things are like, I'm being booked for a few things, but it is like, everyone does the open mics and everyone does the smaller gigs and that kind of thing, and you
Yeah.
get to know everybody, and it's kind of, and there are things like they're like gong shows as well, which are absolutely terrifying. So I've done a few of them, and then some nights I've kind of done well on that, so then they know you from there. And
yeah,
so it's you start off doing just open mics, and then you just gradually work your way up, and then
mm-hmm.
yeah,
because I'm very into podcasts with like LA comedians. So
yeah,
it's so weird. I know, I almost know the LA comedy scene like inside out, and like what clubs to go to and what clubs are a bit
yeah,
sour.
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
why do I know this? Like, and I'm with the UK and even like in North of Ireland and stuff. I don't know that
Yeah.
at all. Well, I'm not a
Yeah,
comedian
no,
either, but
there's a big scene, and it's not just Manchester's really good for comedy. Edinburgh, obviously, and Glasgow, very good for comedy. There's loads of places, yeah, down by kind of Portsmouth is good, Brighton. There's like scenes everywhere. There's Brighton Fringe is coming up.
yeah,
There's loads of stuff, and Edinburgh Fringe is obviously back this year as well.
yeah.
So yeah, it's a big hub. So yeah, it's a fun industry to kind of be trying it out in.
Yeah. I'll maybe try it one day.
Do it. Why
Maybe
not?
one day. I don't know. I
Absolutely.
don't think I'm very funny, so I don't know. It would just be a weird thing.
You don't know until you try.
That's very true. It's very true. Listen, Abby, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's been so much fun. It's nice
been
to
lovely.
meet you properly and
Yeah.
chat and have the lols.
Yeah. Oh
You
man.
go.
No trousers. Love that so much. It's so good. Yes, it has been lovely. Thank you so much for coming on. You're a legend.
You too. Take care.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
So you have it, folks. That was Abi Carter-Simpson. Join me next week when I am joined by the absolute gent that is Luke Davis. There he is there. We lived together in Italy. We've known each other for 5 years, went to drama school together, lived together in Manchester, and now we're here in Italy together. So join me next week for that, for an in-person.
Am I getting paid for it?
We'll talk about that off camera. Join me next week for that. If you could, tell your friends about the podcast, like and subscribe to the video. This has been Playing Pretend with Chris McIlvenny. See you next week.